Good morning. This is Terry Probeat. We're going to have a guest in by the name of Dwayne Ray. We're going to be talking about who he is and his helpful hints and tips he has to offer about being a parent and about what it's like to be in his 40s now from his 30s. Um, we'll have him on soon here. Let's see. Okay, this is Dwayne Ray. He's with us today on Helpful Hints and Helpful Tips. And he's going to tell us a little bit about himself. We'll talk about him being a father and what effects they've had on him in life and how he feels about that. So go ahead with it, Dwayne. You got the floor.
Yes. Good morning, everybody. So yes, my name is Dwayne. Dwayne is from East Cleveland, Ohio. Originally, that's where I was born, and for the most part raised. Um, yeah. So beginnings for me, like with most of us, and I'm not just going to really just narrow it down to our people because I mean, obviously there's a struggle just with that in itself, but we all go through things, regardless of what, whatever our background is, we all have our stories. We all have our, things that we've had to overcome. But for me, um, dealing with the potential of being a statistic, that really was what my environment pressed. It was either you don't get on like us, you just not gonna make it, or get away from here. That's about the only chance you got. That is, if not to say that there's not people that have come from those environments, the whole rose and concrete thing, but even for them, they had to get away. They had to separate themselves. That's how they found out it happened. That's how they made it out. But anyway, uh, so with those being arrows, directed at me in my life, I was never the one to say, hey, well, you know, uh, I'm just going to give up and, I'm just going to conform just because they say this is what, I'm supposed to be. And, like for example, a parent can, and I see it happen so often, especially nowadays. The parents tell the child, "Oh, you're bad. You bad. Think how you act. You bad." Well, I mean, if you keep, the power of suggestion is really something. So, if you keep implanting that into that child, you can't be mad when that child said, "Well, they kept saying I was bad. What you expect?" But you know, um, and even still, life is about decisions, choices. Despite how, but again, for me, I wasn't the one to conform to it. So, you know, um, and that came by way of my influences. For me, for me, I'm very fortunate to have had powerful men in my life, like yourself. The narrator of this podcast, brother, like it played such a huge impact in my life because of what was around me, and it was like, you can be accountable for the things that you do and your decisions, like a man should. Or you can you can point the finger and, oh, it's this person's fault, it's these people, it's the white man, what I'm saying? Like, nah, man,
Mm-hmm.
no.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So with that being said, because of these influences for me, it it has always pushed me to want to be a better version of myself as time goes on.
Exactly.
Now, and so that's pretty much, the gist for me. So yeah, I've made, don't get me wrong, not perfect. I've made plenty of choices and decisions, actions and whatnot. However, one thing about it is, the whole universal law things, the things that in which we cannot see it is just as real as what we're sitting on. For example,
Yeah.
what you put out, I just try to say, you treat others the way you want to be treated. What you put out, the vibrations and frequencies that you put out, if, be it negative or whatever, it will come back. It'll come back. And it might not necessarily come back on you because you got a lot of people, oh, I'm going to do what I want to do. I'm grown and I ain't scared of nothing. And that's all fine and well. You may not be worried or concerned about your life. You might not even be concerned about that. I ain't scared to die. But here's the thing. You may have somebody that you actually care about that you don't want to. And things can come because of yeah. So
Exactly.
we got to be careful with what we put out.
Exactly.
Our words are powerful.
Exactly. Well, if you don't mind me interjecting here,
Yes, sir.
I am I am quite proud of you. Those same words I've used over and over to you and other people, and this is a proud moment for me. Thank you. Thank you. It's a proud moment for me because a lot of times, and I hope you will do it yourself as you go through life, make sure you say those same words to others because I've said that to you all your life. And it makes me very proud to know that you were listening and you're passing it forward. Okay. These are things that you just said need to be passed forward to those who are younger, your age, older. It doesn't matter the age. It needs to be heard. Life's about choices. Okay. If you put out a shovel full of crap, a truckload is going to come back on you. If it's not on you, it's your family, it's your job, your luck, et cetera, et cetera. So, like I said, this is a proud moment, and I want to thank you for just what you told me back to me. And it reiterates the fact that, yes, it is a profound thought. Life's about choices. You got to be careful with the choices you make. And you also have to be careful with the words you use because words make things happen. So we need to move on. You have a beautiful 5-year-old daughter. And what I want to talk to you about is when she came to be a reality, your daughter, what did that do for you emotionally, your mindset, your way of looking at life, your priorities? Okay, those categories. Can you elaborate on that? How dramatic that was for you, or how profound?
I say for me, big time profound. So again, when it goes back to the choices and decisions that we make, the wife that I chose, it wasn't a random situation. And see, the thing is learning from watching others' mistakes. One thing that was a big thing for me because yes, you can learn from your own mistakes and get out there and experience. However, going back to like we were saying before, sometimes the consequences of some of those mistakes could be just a little too costly. So me seeing, okay, well, this brother, this sister went through that. Okay, I know not to do that myself. I'm not doing, So with that being said, I didn't want to have child with someone of we'll say a baby mama mentality, as opposed to a wife mentality as opposed to one of traditional thought, as far as embracing traditional family values. So that was a huge thing for me, because if as a female, if I've encountered you and we talking, if you don't encounter, I mean, I'm sorry, if you don't possess those traits, those characteristics, then I'm going to treat you as such. There's a difference between women and hoes. There's a difference between men and boys.
Exactly,
A,
exactly.
a woman, those are titles earned. That's not something that you are just because you hit 18, just because, oh, I'm a man, I'm a woman. No, that's an earned title.
Correct.
And so if you don't display those characteristics, then you ain't getting no baby up out of Dwayne. Sorry. No.
Gotcha, gotcha, gotcha.
So with that being said, and even still, we all have our anybody that you're dealing with is gonna have some sort of whatever baggage, whatever. That's
Exactly.
dealing with humans. But nevertheless, I'm saying all of that to say, for me, I expected child with her. And it had been quite some time. And anybody that's known me, they're like, oh, well, Dwayne, how old? He ain't got no kids yet. You know what I'm saying? A lot of miscarriages. However, this one was supposed to, it went through. This was something that I prayed for. This is something that Dwayne wanted. And that was something that Dwayne put out into that universe. Like, hey, Lord, I know you hear me. This is what I want. This is one of the desires of my heart. You got me down here. So when she came through, when she was born, when for me, it was so profound because this was a time in my life where it's like, okay, all of those things that I was in the past, I had to put away because it's not about me at this point. It's about her future, and also the mother of the child that I'm with. You know what I'm saying? Because of,
Exactly.
yeah, because of that choice and decision. So for me, it's just something else that continues to want to push me towards being a better version each year, wiser, on all aspects, on all levels.
Okay, well, that's a great analogy. I mean, thank you, thank you. If we got time, if you want to add a little more, go ahead. But I think you hit that nail on the head, one hit. But go ahead, go ahead. This is for the viewers. So what I want you to understand, this platform is for people to understand that, yeah, you might be going through a tough time. You know what I mean? You might think the world is all against you, what have you. It's rough. I've got kids and, I'm short on money. I'm this, that, and the other. But we want them to look and say, oh, yeah, I went through that too. So I am normal. I'm not the only one doing this, or I'm not the only one feeling this. This is something, if I just hang in there, stick it out, it'll work out. But I just can't give up. And that's what this platform is about, helpful hints and helpful tips about life. We want them to be able to go, we're not giving any advice. We're not no legal professionals or counselors, but we want you to go, maybe I'll go back to the drawing board instead of saying, oh, forget it. I'll go back to the drawing board and find a new route or new way of doing this because I got to get to the end. I got to get this end results I'm looking for. So let me just stand fast. Stand fast. Don't give up. Okay? That's what this is about. Helpful hints, helpful tips about life. The biggest hint and tip is stay strong. Don't let go. It'll work out. Keep your prayers up, but it'll work out. Okay? Now, like you said, and I view it as that, okay, you prayed for this. This is something you wanted. It wasn't a mistake. It wasn't a oops, this happened. This was something kind of like a planned parent thing. And that's excellent because most people, or a lot of people, not most people, but some people, it's oops, you know what I mean? Or some people ought not be parents too, you know what I mean? And they end up being parents and they're not very good at it, you know? So, with that being said, man, I'm proud of you. So, while we have time, I like to get into you'll be 41 next month, you're 40 now. What was 30 through 39? What are you seeing different to do now at 40 than you was doing in your 30s? Okay, because you have a 5-year-old daughter, so from 30 to 35 was a whole different Dwayne.
Yeah.
She came in your
Now,
life. Go ahead.
oh, sorry, didn't mean to cut you off. My apologies. For me, so yeah, 30 to 35. Now, the one thing about it, my partner, my wife, we've been together for a little over 10 years now. So,
Congratulations.
oh, thank you, thank you. Um, so yeah, even with that 30 to 35, that was still a transitional moment for me because I was with her,
Mm-hmm.
building with her. Um,
Excellent.
so I was still pretty much in that mind frame, as
Mm-hmm.
far as you know uh what I know I needed to do, the things that I know I needed to do in order to get to that level and point that I wanted. However, for me during those moments, those were those were the big trying moments of pretty much any relationship. And we met, you know, she could have been like a lot of modern thinking women. And, like, for example, one of the things that I've encountered when I'm dealing with, I'll say this, when I'm dealing with square chicks, I say, you walk past, you say, hey, how you doing? Typically because of what they've been through, and most chicks, they throughout the course of a day, they have so many guys that talk to them, so many guys that inquire, so many weird guys, so many, just a mixture. So this is something that they deal with on the daily. And a lot of times they'll tend to put you in that same category as most other dudes. That is, if you come with the same thing as they are for the most part. So with that being said, that wasn't what I dealt with. What I encountered with her, she actually listened to what I said. She actually, you know, uh, wanted to get to know who Dwayne was, as opposed to, oh, well, how much you got? Oh, you ain't got this, or what can you do for me? It wasn't like that at all.
Mhm.
So, with that being said, she was somebody that I had wanted to build with on a much deeper level, and so for me, though, now the thing was the economical situations that I was going through. I was going through I was going through some
Been there, done
situations,
that. Been there, done that.
and I was going through situations where though most people wouldn't, it'd have been like, bro, I ain't got time for you. I ain't got
Mm-hmm.
time for that.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yes,
Oh,
exactly.
I see you trying to get these jobs and you doing this, but it ain't, and then most people would look at, oh, those are excuses. And but me, I didn't I wasn't the type that, I encountered some difficulties and I come back complaining. That just wasn't me. I was always the type, we got to eat. No matter what, I'm gonna do what I got to do. I'm not coming back until I got something in hands that we eating. No excuse, job or not. But and that was one thing that she saw about me, and also seeing seeing the things that like a person, a lot of times, a person to be with you for the aesthetic reasons, I could say I'm with somebody and then I could just go do me. It wasn't for her in the beginning, yeah, it was a thing where, let's say I would go out to get a job. It was difficult for me finding jobs, money wise, this, that, and the other. And I would go through some particular racial instances, and then
Right.
I come back and let her know, like, hey, well, this happened. And most chicks would be like, oh nah, bro, no, it's something that you did. What did you do?
Mhm.
What did you do? No, it was I know you. What did you do? You know what I'm saying? And
Right.
and so it had to actually take her being out with me physically and seeing these things. We've
For
even
herself.
worked together at different places. And for
Mhm.
her to see, like, damn, this is for real. They really did you like, but they didn't treat me like hold up. So uh, those were some of the variables that played a huge part in why even 10 years later we still going, so
Okay.
um
I have a question for you, if you don't mind.
yes.
My question. Let's sum this up as, how did you get through that? How, those situations, how did the two of you manage? Because you're in a better situation now. How did you manage to get to where you're at now? See, because I want the viewers to see, okay, he went through that, but what did him and his wife do to make it through it? What was the end results? So we're trying to give some solution here. So how did you, it might have took years, it might have took time, of course, but how did you work it out?
Well, I consistency, persistency, perseverance,
Mm-hmm.
integrity,
Exactly. Exactly.
um maintaining those things, with her, with anybody that we've encountered, because my work ethic has always been high. I've always been
Mm-hmm.
the type, I'd rather work for it, I blood, sweat, and tears before I go out and ask.
Exactly.
So um that's something that's never left me. And
Mm-hmm.
those are also traits that she possesses. So there was more of a teamwork factor.
Exactly.
As
Exactly.
yeah, it wasn't competition all the time. Another thing too, when the partners that you're dealing with, because the whole, modern women versus traditional thinking, they come with two different energies. Your modern women gonna come with that masculine energy. Don't no
Yes.
man, don't no man want nothing that's gonna remind him of himself. What
Mm-hmm.
what I need you for if you come with all that masculine? No, no. Mm-mm.
Mm-hmm.
So another variable to take into consideration when you choose the partner that you want to invest your
Exactly.
time to.
Exactly. Well, I'm gonna say this to you, and just from listening to your uh, life and how you're dealing with things, it sounds like you got a good woman behind you. Okay, you sound like you got your head on. You know where you want to go. You two are in unison. Is that basically what you're trying to say?
Yes, yes,
Perfect.
and that does not mean that it doesn't come with its. Again, you dealing with humans.
Mhm. Mhm.
Hopefully, pray that their maturity level is, on par with yours. But however, you know, nothing's perfect. There is no such thing as a perfect relationship, or it's what you make it.
Exactly. There's always going to be some ups, some downs
Always.
in the middle. You're not going to agree on everything, and you got to learn to agree to disagree. So, with that being said, um, I'll say this again, and I tell it to you all the time. I am very proud of you. and you are representing exactly the way a man should. Okay. And don't let nobody tell you anything different. Always be open-minded to learn, of course. Always be open-minded to change, because things do change. People do change. You must keep growing, which you evidently you are. And you have a daughter that you have to show these same things. See, you got an S on your chest right now. You Superman. You dad. So,
Yeah.
with that being said, every little thing you do, say, habit you have, she's paying attention. So, I'm gonna wrap this up with uh, if you, I'd like for you to give a thought to those that see you've lived a type of life. So, if you was to give a last piece of something to think about to a 20-year-old, what would it be? Excuse me.
Okay. And that would pretty
About
much
life, about life, about
oh
life.
yeah, yeah. Number one, I would say knowing who you are. Love to, and that goes off into loving yourself, knowing who you are, knowing where you came from, knowing your roots, because nowadays everybody's so sensitive, and
Mhm.
you know you look at somebody wrong and they're ready to cry and jump off a bridge, but
Yes, yes. It is what it is.
you think about 50, 80 years ago, and hell, even when I think about relationships,
Mhm.
I find myself asking, especially a lot of the young women, like when you think about your grandmother, your great grandmother, do you think that they had it easier or harder than you? And a lot of people would tend to say, "Oh, they had it rougher. They had it rougher. They less money, more kids, more, you know, but they were happy. You,
They
you
made it
know,
work.
they,
They
they
made
were they
it work.
happy. They made it work.
Exactly.
People nowadays, you got more freedom, all the freedom that you've ever wanted, but yet you're the most miserable. You
Yes,
got
yes.
what you wanted.
That's it.
So so my thing is taking into consideration with those who come before you, the the things that they've had to deal with, what made them strong, because it's in you.
Exactly. Exactly.
Possess those same characteristics, same abilities, same. So knowing who you are can play a huge part in where you're going, your decisions, because you're going to be less likely to accept and tolerate the nonsense and bullshits of this society, because you have a focus. You see that
Exactly.
there's a foundation in you,
Mhm.
So, and that's one of, you know, because I feel like in that you see that never giving upness, that they stuck with it. There was no, oh, I'm gonna take some pills, I'm gonna do this to get away from. No,
No, no.
no, fully embrace it. This is how you get to that next level. And always seeking to be a better version as time goes on. Not just because people will get content, they'll remain stagnant, and some even feel like I don't need to change it. But this world is constant, like you said, this world is constantly changing. One
Exactly.
must adapt. If you don't learn how
Exactly.
to adapt,
Exactly.
boy, boy, yeah. So
Adapt and overcome. Adapt and overcome.
this ain't
Well,
this ain't 1993. This 2023.
yes, exactly. Well, I would like to thank you, of course, and hopefully extend an invitation because your level of thought is much needed. And I'd like to bring you on to give more of your wisdom that you've learned during the years to my viewers. And please take good care of yourself. And we're looking forward to having you back on the show again. So, as always, stay strong. I'm very proud of you.
Yes, sir.
Till next time. Bye now.
The next time.